Good morning to all my dear friends and subscribers on Cricket Happenings, and also to those cricket fans of Cricket Happenings. Well, on this particular cricket show, the unlikeliest of things happened yesterday at the Basin Reserve in Wellington, where the second test match was over in just 3 days, as South Africans actually won the match by 8 wickets, with the left arm spinner Maharaj turning out to be the star here, as he saw to it that he derailed the New Zealand innings by bowling very well, and also certain injudicious strokes being played by the New Zealand batsmen put them into gloom, as they were all out for 171, thus setting the South Africans just 83 runs for victory, which they completed the formalities. And the Basin Reserve in Wellington, this particular match, the test match, ended in just 3 days, with South Africa taking a lead 1-0 in the 3-match series. Now, as far as the other match is concerned, the Sri Lanka-Bangladesh match is the one which is going to keep the interest alive for all the cricket fans, as this particular match is really getting very, very hot right now, with Bangladesh probably eyeing a victory in their landmark test match, the 100th test match, because they definitely are on the ascendancy here, with the Sri Lankans today trying to bide their time, probably trying to play out for a draw here, as the Sri Lankans were at 268 for 8, essentially meaning that that Sri Lanka are just 139 runs ahead with just 2 wickets in hand. But Dilruwan Pereira is fighting, he's showing some real battle out there in the center, as Sri Lanka are trying to play out time with the match going into the final day tomorrow, and it can't get as exciting as it is, as Dilruwan Pereira has blocked 126 balls and he is not out on 26, so he has really played a good part. And now the final day, where Bangladesh fans will be eyeing victory. But I can tell you one thing, that if Sri Lanka can put on probably another 50 to 60 runs, they could really stretch the Bangladeshis. So Bangladeshis have to really watch out. But as of now, I can say that Bangladesh are probably looking at a 100th test match victory, and there could not be a sweeter thing for Bangladesh than having a victory under their belt in their 100th test match. So that is really very evenly poised. And as far as India versus Australia were concerned, India had their first centurion of the series yesterday, and Cheteshwar Pujara put up a gallant display, I would say, really put his head down and buckled down seriously to take India to 360 for 6 at close. They are just 91 runs adrift of the Aussies right now, and Cheteshwar Pujara played a big hand. He was not out on 130 at stumps with 17 boundaries, and that was a wonderful knock from Cheteshwar Pujara, and he became the first centurion for India in this series. Well, so that is also a game which is evenly poised, one could say, but a bit early to say that right now, because one has to watch as to how the 4 days play really pans out. If the 4 days play pans out as expected, then we could have a real game on hand here. So we'll come back to that later. But definitely, I'm going to start off with the second test between New Zealand and South Africa, where unexpectedly the South Africans pulled off a victory in just 3 days, As New Zealand resumed on their score yesterday, I've already spoken about the South African innings. They were all out for 359, with Moni Morkel registering his highest score in Test cricket of 40 runs. New Zealand started off there in 91 runs in arrears, I reckon. I'm just going to look at it here. Let's have a look at here. 268 was what New Zealand made, and South Africa replying with 359. So definitely a 91 run lead for the South Africans. And South Africans, who were on that day, as I said, they were 94 for 6 at one stage, and then that rally, and then that lead, and then finally a total demolition of the New Zealand team, especially by the left arm spinner Keshav Maharaj, who picked up his best career analysis of 20.2 overs, 7 maidens, 40 runs and 6 wickets. And the wicket that he took off Grand Home was a real beauty. It was a peach of a delivery. So let's have a look at the New Zealand card. Tom Latham, Moni Morkel was the one who not only provided the breakthrough but rocked the New Zealanders with 3 wickets. Tom Latham was, especially Morkel was the one who was getting the ball to bounce at serious pace, and Tom Latham was the first one nicking it into Duminy for 6 with 1-4. Kane Williamson, as I said, he got a wonderful delivery that basically pitched on the off stump and straight, and Kane Williamson was a goner. Neil Broom came in and joined Jeet Rawal. Neil Broom had his moments of despair, I would say. He had to be very, very careful being his test debut, but then finally it was Moni Morkel coming back onto his second spell, picking up Neil Broom once again. A marvellous catch behind the stumps by the wicket keeper Quinton de Kock. What a marvellous catch. I mean, he has picked up some real blinders here, and what a catch that was from Quinton de Kock, diving full strength, full length, and almost into the first slip and grabbing the catch inches off the ground. Wonderful display by Quinton de Kock. 64 for 3 when Broom departed. Jeet Rawal was looking very confident. He was he knew where his off stump was. He was showing some good defense, interspersed with some nice strokes at times when any loose stuff was served to him, as the score read 64 for 3. Henry Nicholls, the first innings centurion, was a goner too, trying to sweep a delivery from Keshav Maharaj, as the ball actually got an inside that onto his bat and cleaned up his furniture. So Nicholls was gone bowled by Maharaj for 7. After that, Jimmy Neesham, Jeet Rawal was the constant factor there. He was doing a very good job of really playing in a very, very stout manner, and he was doing very well. But at the other end, there was no support whatsoever. Jimmy Neesham left his crease to the bowling of Maharaj, and in the process, du Plessis picking up the catch. He was gone for 4 with 1 boundary. BJ Watling came in, and that was the only time this Kiwi innings really looked like doing something, as a 65-run partnership was formed with BJ Watling really playing well and also looking very good. But again, they had to contend with some real bowling. As far as Rabada was concerned, it was all about pace. Moni Morkel, it was all about bounce. Vernon Flanders, it was all about swing. At the other end, Keshav Maharaj was really befuddling them with his spin bowling. BJ Watling and this partnership had raced, has scored on, as I said, 65 runs were added, and that was the time Jeet Rawal was looking good. One was wondering, probably Keshav Maharaj was the one who was really, really troubling them, and probably Jeet Rawal thought that Jeet Rawal thought probably that was the time for him to really go and try to play Keshav Maharaj by using his feet, and in the process the ball was a bit wide outside the off stump. Jeet Rawal advanced down the wicket and in the process missed the ball completely, and he himself was stranded down the crease as Quinton de Kock did a smart stumping. And Jeet Rawal, one thing for him that would be satisfying him was that he had his highest score in Test cricket, and that was 80 with 10 boundaries. A very good knock under the circumstances. After that, BJ Watling was joined in McGrandham. Now this was the time Keshav Maharaj picked up a beautiful wicket. Look at the delivery that he produced. I mean, this is the mark of a great bowler. The ball was pitched on the middle stump, and Granholm probably just offering a defensive stroke to that couldn't get the bat at the nick of the moment or to the middle of the ball, and in the process the ball actually turned past Granholm's bat and went on to hit his off stump, and that was a great wicket for Keshav Maharaj. After that, Tim Southee trying to hold out to Dumini or the bowling of Maharaj for 4, and then we also saw Jeetan Patel being a victim of the bowling of Rabada. A good catch taken by Quinton de Kock once again. And after that, it was all over with BJ Watling having only one thing to do, and that was to go for the bowling. And in the process, he too fell. Caught Dumini bowled Maharaj for 29 with 3 boundaries. Wagner not out 4, and the New Zealand innings wound up for 171. And thus giving South Africa a target of just 81 runs for victory. The bowling, Morne Morkel was the one who started it all. 11 overs, no maidens, 50 runs and 3 wickets. With his height and his pace, he definitely had good bounce, and that was the one which proved to be an important factor when picking up the wickets. One on Philander with his swing bowling, 12 overs, 3 minutes, none for 28, was wicketless, nevertheless bowled well. Kagiso Rabada was all pace, all about pace, and hitting the batsman on the anatomy. 17 overs, 5 minutes, 1 for 38. Keshav Maharaj, what a brilliant spell from this bloke. Keshav Maharaj is really turning out to be one of the trump cards for the South African bowling. 20.2 overs, 7 maidens, 40 runs and 6 wickets. Dumini 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 4. So South Africans were given a target of 81 runs for victory, and Stephen Cook was the first victim as he continued his poor run in this test series, as this was Tim Southee forcing Stephen Cook to nick one onto the slips. Neesham completed the formalities. He was gone for 11, and after that Dean Elgar trying to swipe Wagner got a top edge onto a ball, and it ended up with Watling picking up the catch. He was gone for 17, 1-4, but it was just a mere formality to be completed. Hashim Amla stood there and stroked the ball to a nicety as he finished unbeaten on 38 with 5 boundaries. Dumini was now on 15 with 2 boundaries. All over, the South Africans had won the first test of the series and taken a 1-0 lead in the 3-test series. And the match was over in 3 days. Tim Southee, 6 overs, 2 minutes, 1 for 17. Granholm, 8 overs, 1 minute, none for 20. And Wagner, 8 overs, 2 minutes, 1 for 18. And Jimmy Neesham, 2.3 overs was costly, none for 28. South Africa leading the 3-match series 1-0. And Keshav Maharaj, for his brilliant spin bowling, was named man of the match. So that is as far as South Africa versus New Zealand is concerned, where the match was cleaned up in 3 days by the South Africans. So now we head on to the match which I said is really holding everyone's attention, and that is the landmark test match for Bangladesh, the 100th test match. And Sri Lanka resumed at their overnight score of 54 for no loss, with both the openers at the crease, Karunaratne and Taranga. And it was a very, very early breakthrough for the Bangladeshis on the 4th day, as Upul Tharanga was a victim. A very good ball from Mehdi and Miraz, also showing what a quality bowler he is. In fact, he pitched the ball on the middle stump, and it went on to shave the off stump of Upul Tharanga, and that was with the very first delivery, Mehdi and Miraz, the Rana Mofi, picking up the wicket of Upul Tharanga to give them a good start. Tharanga gone for 26 with 3 boundaries. Kushal Mendes came in to join Karunaratne. Karunaratne, as I said, was really searching for some dear form, and he definitely got there. He chiseled together a partnership with Kushal Mendes, and in the process, Kushal Mendes also had to curb his natural instinct. Not only that, there was some good bowling being done at both the ends, one by Mustafizur Rahman and Shakib Al Hasan, who were the ones who actually took 3 wickets apiece today. And it was Mustafizur Rahman finally getting the wicket of Kushal Mendes when Kushal Mendes was caught behind for 36 with 2 boundaries. So it was a good partnership which happened actually. It yielded around 86 runs. After that, Chandimal, the Centurion, came out, but today he was an early victim. Chandimal trying to drive a delivery, caught behind by Mushfiqur Rahim for 5 with 1 boundary. After that, the next to go was Asala Gunaratne. Shakib Al Hasan actually got him LBW for 7 with 1 boundary, which left the score on 176 for 4 with only 1 run added to the tally. Dhananjay De Silva was snapped up by Mushfiqur Rahim behind the stumps of Mustafizur Rahman for naught, and with the score on 190, Dikwala departed out to the bowling of Shakib Al Hasan. Once again, Mushfiqur Rahim coming in and picking up 1 more catch, and he was gone. And that left Karunaratne at the other end really pondering as to what to do. But Karunaratne was, in the meanwhile, had gone on to his 5th Test century. So definitely Dimut Karunaratne, who was definitely under real pressure, but he did a wonderful job for himself and his team as he got a century at the very, very right time. And that also was his 5th Test century. And finally, when Dilruwan Pereira came in to actually play with him, and this was the time where both Karunaratne and Pereira decided that they are going to be really trying to block the balls and play out time. Shakib Al Hasan nipped out Karunaratne for 126 with 10 fours and 1 6. And after that, Rangana Herath was LBW bowled, left arm spinner Tajul Islam for 9, which left Dilruwan Pereira along with Lakmal. Now this was a very good partnership. Now Dilruwan Pereira, one has to really credit, because as Sri Lanka had decided that it is better to bide out their time, Dilruwan Pereira played a great hand, one could say, because what he did here, he kept on blocking. He became a real blocker. He showed he could be a very good blocker, as he kept on plodding, and at the end of the day, he got 126 runs by consuming 126 balls with 2 fours, and is still there to play out tomorrow morning. And Suranga Lakmal was the one who was with him, not out on 16 with 2 boundaries. There was a bit of banter going on. There was a bit of a real needle between the Sri Lankans and the Bangladeshis, especially Suranga Lakmal. Looking at that, so right now it's 139 runs ahead for Sri Lankans. But as I said, if the Sri Lankans can really, Dilruwan Pereira can continue to block, and they can probably push the score on to take another 50 to 60 runs, it could really put the Bangladeshis under pressure in the 100 Test match. So as of now, I would say Bangladesh are good. But also let's remember that tomorrow is the final day of the match, and one does not know how the pitch is going to behave. Mustafizur Rahman, 19 overs, 3 maidens, 52 runs and 3 wickets. And Shakib Al Hasan was the one who actually shared the spoils. 30 overs, 8 maidens, 61 runs and 3 wickets. 1 wicket apiece to Mehdi Hassan Miraj, who started it all, and 1 wicket to Tajul Islam. So let's leave from here, as with shortage of time, we go on to the match between India and Australia. As far as India and Australia was concerned, as I said, it was Cheteshwar Pujara registering his 1st century for India in this particular series. And what a knock that was. He's still there, not out on 130 with 17 boundaries. Murali Vijay played very well, used his feet very well to the spinners, and Murali Vijay and Pujara showed some nice technique against the spinners, not allowing Steve O'Keefe or Nathan Lyon to really rule them. That was very good to see. And Murali Vijay and Pujara put up a good partnership, 102 runs partnership. Vijay was playing with lots of confidence, and finally he hit one beautiful 6 of the bowling of O'Keefe by using his feet and nicely clean as a whistle. But once again, Murali Vijay, after some time, once again tried to actually put O'Keefe into the stands there, and in the process it was Matthew Wade stumping him, as Murali Vijay had gone far down the crease, and in the process Matthew Wade had whipped off the bails. He was gone for 82, 10 fours and 1 6. Virat Kohli came in definitely under a lot of pressure with his shoulder injury that he was having, and Cummins today once again showing that how Stephen Smith, the Aussie captain, was using him in short bursts, and he was absolutely successful as Virat Kohli was forced to actually go and play at the delivery from Cummins, which left him, and Smith in the slips gobbled it. He was gone for 6, and Ajinkya Rahane was also really not comfortable, as Cummins was the one who was really winning. He actually in the morning he was getting the ball to lift a great deal, was bowling a lot of short stuff and really making the Indian batsmen take cover, and Cummins showed some real pace as Ajinkya Rahane was the victim, caught behind by Wade for 14 with 2 boundaries. Karun Nair did his bit, giving good company to Cheteshwar Pujara. Cheteshwar Pujara, as I said, he had this, I would say, as far as his play was concerned, in the morning it was all about stout defense, but when the second new ball was claimed, he was absolutely into his element, really getting on to some real good stroke making, and in the final session he decided to down the shutters and just stay put at the crease. And while you saw Karun Nair getting clean bowled by Hazelwood for 23 with 2 boundaries, Ashwin continued his very poor form in the in this test series with the bat, as Cummins was the one who nipped him by getting Ashwin to fend at a delivery which actually lifted on him, and he was caught by weight of the glove. He was gone for 3, but Riddhiman Shah came in and gutsed it out there in the centre, giving company to Cheteshwar Pujara. Cheteshwar Pujara at the end of the day, on day 3, was not out on 130 with 17 boundaries, thus becoming the first centurion for India in this test series, and that was very pretty refreshing. Riddhiman Shah was not out on 18 with 3 boundaries. India closed the day at 360 for 6. They still have another 91 runs to actually go into the lead, and definitely one is looking out for the morrow. The second new ball has been claimed, but it will be interesting to see as to how things go on the 4th day. The bowling, Cummins by far, yesterday also he was the bowler of the day, and once again I would say Cummins was the bowler of the day. What a splendid bowling spell from him. 25 overs, 8 maidens, 59 runs and 4 wickets. A splendid bowling spell from Paddy Cummins. Hazelwood supported him admirably. 31 overs, 9 maidens, 1 for 66. The spinners were really tame. 43 overs, 11 maidens, 117 runs and 1 wicket for Steve O'Keefe, the left-arm spinner. Nathan Lyon, 29 overs, 2 maidens, none for 97. Glenn Maxwell, 2 overs for 4. And as I said, right now, it's India who need 91 runs to actually get on to the lead with 4 wickets remaining. But the good thing is that Cheteshwar Pujara is still unconquered on 130. Riddhiman Shah is doing a good job as well. So it augurs well for India. But the 4th day really happens to be an interesting day's play coming up. Well, dear fans and subscribers, I'll be there to talk to you about the India versus Australia match. Also, we would tomorrow when I come back to you, we will know whether Bangladesh in their landmark test match, that is 100th test match, landed a victory against the Sri Lankans on the final day. Thanks for your company and thanks for watching Cricket Happenings. This is your host Ram signing off this on a Sunday.